So, today, it's kind of early. I just woke up not too long ago. I wanted to make a video about it last night, but I didn't. So, two things happened today. Well, last night. John Cena retired, and My Hero Academia is over with. Now, My Hero Academia. Well, let me go with John Cena first. With John Cena, there's a long history that I have with him. I was born around the time he started. I was 3 when he started, to be honest, and he was known as Dr. Thugonomics. And as years went on, he's set this trend in wrestling where you could just dress up as a regular motherfucker and and still win championships, huh? Like, even though we all know wrestling is fake and scripted and shit like that, but he had a generation of kids wanting to wrestle with just jean shorts, the jorts, just the jorts. So it's kind of crazy how the people that we've seen in the past that we've basically grown up with are now retiring. Like, as Generation Z is getting ready to get older and older, we're seeing the old generation finally wind down. And it's coming with basketball, with LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, all of them. Football, we already saw Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees retire. Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be next soon. And, we're like it's a different time period because it's hard to make stars now, especially polarizing stars. Like, will there ever be another John Cena in wrestling? Who knows? Who knows? Will there ever be other very impactful beings that put a lot for the business? Is that what we're going to see in this lifetime? Because I feel like more of the generation that's coming up is very strong about how they feel about themselves when it comes to coming up in something that is a business oriented, space, like, wrestling and football, basketball, and just shit like that. A franchise player might be the franchise player, but he's going to leave if he's not being treated right. Like, this is the generation that we are in now, where we are told that we're supposed to do this, but we're supposed to shut up and just handle what the fuck, we got to do. And athletes and performers and actors around the world are saying we're more than that. So they're more so willing to risk quitting their job or quitting their role in order to make a stand and to make a word for something. And like I said, like, John Cena's been doing this for about 23 years at this point. He's been doing it since 2002. 2002, to be exact. But he's been wrestling way longer than that. Now he's an actor. He's on Peacemaker. I still got to watch season 2. But he's now finally going into this area where it's like, I don't need to wrestle no more. Like, people were really mad about the fact that he lost from tapping out. Like, again, if anybody watched John Cena's career, and that's the crazy part, I'm not even a John Cena fan, but I've grown up and known him for so long. Like, I don't know who he is, but I know who the guy is, basically. Like I don't personally know him. Fuck. Like, but, like, the story of what they were trying to say, because all stories finish in the ring when it comes to the WWE. So we all know this is his last match. Win, lose, or draw. Why are people mad that he tapped? The story was basically saying, I don't need this. I don't need to do this no more. I have fight in me, but I don't want to fight no more. I'm done. It's time to give it to the new generation. Like that was the whole point of his match right there. Like, and people are over here about to kill Gunther. Like, he's the one that decided that this is what I want to be for the results of John Cena's match. No. John Cena wouldn't have let that happen if he didn't want to. But everybody in the wrestling business knows that when you're retiring, you're giving it to the next guy. You don't just win in your last match. No. Ric Flair lost. Fucking Shawn Michaels lost. Shit. Technically, Undertaker lost to Roman Reigns. Like, bro, these wrestlers lose when it's time to go. That is the way that you show your appreciation for the company and for the wrestling business in general. So, even though I wasn't a big fan of John Cena, and even though that I think that they had narratives that they were pushing down that I didn't agree with, and the whole Boy Scout thing that he went through after Dr. Thugonomics, 2006 to 2007, 8, 9, he wasn't doing all that Boy Scout shit. He was, you could pay attention to him, but when he was doing that Boy Scout shit, nah, I can't really do that. But, congrats on John Cena. He's done. He retired at an age where he wanted to retire, at a time where he wanted to retire, and he went out his own way. He probably wanted to do more, and I think he said that he wanted to do more, but they weren't really trying to let him. Oh well. This guy made it clear that he's done. And you know what? That's cool. Now, what's next for the WWE after having a only single star for that one company for 20 years? Who knows? Who knows what the WWE got in store with us? But I'm not going to be watching. But, it will be interesting knowing that he's officially done. Like, done. Good for him, though. Now, my other topic is My Hero Academia. Now, My Hero Academia has been going on since 2015. Was it 2015, 2016? The manga ended last year, and the anime has now ended this year, which was yesterday, because today's Sunday. But that was an emotional ending as well, because you're growing up and you're watching these kids become heroes, and you're seeing the development of over 14 to 20 plus kids that all have a story within their own, within their own bubble. We get to see all of that. We get to see all the villains have their backstory as well. We get to see all the vigilantes. We get to see all the teachers. All the, we saw it all when it came to that show. That show showed us everything that they could, and it's kind of hard for them to make another villain as strong as All For One. So, if My Hero is officially done, there's no sequel, nothing, because it's possible. These kids just grew up 8 years later. Great ending. The story of Deku wasn't for him to be the number one hero. It was honestly for him to defeat something that's been going on for eons, and to be the last generation that has to deal with that. It showed you that these new kids that are growing, they are the future. All Might showed that. Bakugo showed that. All Might was basically representing the future. He needed kids that he knew that could be strong and defeat All For One. And all of those kids came together and stopped them. It's a perfect ending to an anime. And it's the best hero anime that we've ever seen. My Hero Academia went out the way that it wanted to go out too. Great ending, great story, great season. All the episode ratings were over 9.2, 9.3. That's great, bro. Studio Bones did their thing throughout that whole entire season. Like, there was it was a whole war. We saw it all. We saw everything that we could from that show. It's like, man, like, how do we go first? How do we go from that? Like, it's just the anime that I've seen grow up for years now. It's over. And people were always saying, like, is this the new big three? Because they would talk about that one, Black Clover, Demon Slayer, or some people would put like Jujutsu Kaisen or something like that as the new big three, even though there's no such thing as a new big three. We're not gonna get into that. But like, what else do we have to see with My Hero? So congrats to My Hero for ending it the way they wanted to end it too. I have more videos coming out, and there's more things that I want to talk about. I just wanted to give my thoughts on those two, and yeah. So, congrats to My Hero 2026. We're going out with a bang on 2025. We had John Cena retire in his last match. That was cool. I know my friends were probably crying and shit. The dude's retiring. People grew up with him. He was a favorite. Like I said, I have my criticisms of him, and I understand that most people don't want to hear that, but at the end of the day, there's always light and there's always dark. We can't always appreciate things until it doesn't last, of course, but I seen the dude wrestle damn near all my life, so I'm cool. Like, I'm allowed to criticize or depict things, especially about how I feel about the wrestling business as a whole. There's things that I disagree with WWE's booking and just the people that they pick as their main guys. But again, more people cater to John Cena, and I'm just an anomaly. What I say is not going to matter, but people still like to get offended because, I don't know, they just choose to be offended. Everybody sometimes does that, but, again, it is what it is. So, but My Hero, that one's a stinger as well. People weren't happy with the ending, but he wasn't supposed to have all of those quirks to begin with. It wasn't fair. Now he's basically Iron Man, and, they could go from something bigger than that, and who knows? There's still a lot, but, it's like, how would you make a villain stronger than All For One? It would be kind of hard. It would be like, bro, I saw these guys face the strongest of the strongest. Like, you would have to build that up for the next, sequel if they were to make one. But as for now, we're not hearing anything about them making a sequel. We're hearing one-shots. We're hearing a couple of stories that might be, manga panels or something like that. But, sometimes authors don't have to make a sequel with the show that they finished. You could make another one, or you could make a spinoff. What if he made an All For One spinoff? That would be cool as fuck. It would. But I'll talk more about that later, because I also want to talk about the Jujutsu Kaisen sequel, because right now they're cooking right now. But I made this video a little bit longer than I wanted to, so it's fine. So that's it for my video. I will see you guys who knows when. I'm going to start trying to, I always say this, but I'm going to start trying to upload more. So, peace out.